Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're on episode 461.
Yeah.
461.
461 episodes in. And this is an update episode. And kind of the way our podcast works is we alternate between update episodes and themed episodes. Our update episodes are where we get to talk about the things we are doing reselling wise, what we've been buying, listing, purchasing, sourcing, how we've been doing all those things, our experiences. We also share the current events, the news happening in the reselling world, if there's been any big changes, that kind of stuff. And then we give you our spicy bolos, things you should be on the lookout for. And then the following week, we do something themed. We also have a lot of live episodes that go live on YouTube. This one is not live, but if you are interested in joining our lives, come on over to YouTube, hit the like, subscribe, bell notification so you don't miss when we're live. We love interacting with our listeners and our watchers so that we can, bounce some ideas off each other, answer questions, share our stories, all the fun stuff. So how are things going, Orlando?
We always got to be real, right? That's the thing. Like, I can make up all these stories and everything, but Mike and I from day one have always been about like, hey, this is our life. So I got to be real with you. It's been brutal, and not eBay brutal, and trying to balancing two lives, right? One is, I'm an administrator at a school. The other part, I'm reselling, and the two worlds, like, they are colliding, and one world is going to beat the other world. Like, there's no way I can run both worlds. And, Mike, you remember in the early days of the podcast, like, you can do everything. Like, if you want to do this, this, and this, and this, like, you can do it all. Just to be clear,
that's what you would say. And I would say,
that's what I would say.
Yeah.
And you would be like, no, Orlando, you can't. I know, but that's, but I was young. That was 8 years ago. And it was a different, I was a full-time reseller. I did have all the time in the world. And so I didn't really realize, like, my heart goes out to the part-time sellers right now that are trying to build a career, or they have a calling, but they're also trying to do their eBay. And they want to give love to both of them. And, you can't serve two masters, right? And right now, I got to tell you, like, I love what I'm doing. The school thing is everything for me. Right. Second of God and family, but it is very important. But eBay is also important because it's also the main thing right now. It's helping me pay my son's college tuition, little side money here and there. But I got to tell you, like, I am barely like making the radar as far as top rated seller. So I want to explain something to people. Like, to lose top rated seller does take a lot. It really does. Like, I think about, I keep looking at my numbers and I'm like, okay, I still got 100% feedback. I'm looking right now, I look at my overview. I'm like, okay, I'm still top rated seller. And eBay is getting smarter about catching things. So for example, my transaction defect rate, like, I used to be able to get away with like, hey, like, would you like to cancel this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, eBay now is like, they're finding out, like, they get, like, being out of stock, like, they get it. Like, back in the day, we used to, and I still tell people, like, hey, at least communicate with people, hey, make sure that you ask the buyer, like, if you'd like to cancel this, don't want it. And then if the buyer tells you to cancel, then you cancel and then you're all good. Right. But now it's kind of like, I don't know, like, the algorithms kind of changed a little bit. I'm really annoyed. I had a buckle. I shipped it out. It got returned. There was an issue because I didn't set up my UPS box right, and I was actually having it come to work, but it didn't come to work. I don't know where it happened. So I never got the package. I got super busy with work, and I got an item defect rate, right? Item not as described, case closed without seller resolution. I have never received one of those ever in my entire life of eBay, and now I have.
So was there a message sent out to you on Facebook, or not Facebook, on eBay saying?
Yeah, multiple times, like, check this refund it, and I never refunded it. And then eBay just stepped in.
It just got too busy? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, and so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to call eBay, and I'm going to see if they could remove this defect for me, just because, I don't have issues. Like, the reality is I'm still top-rated seller. I will tell people, like, once you get the top-rated seller, it takes a lot to lose top-rated seller. Like, you have to be like never shipping packages out on time. You have to like constantly be ignoring customers. Like, you have to do a lot of bad things.
Or not even just bad things, but if your sales just in general drop, right? Like if the number, because you have to have,
Correct.
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head right now because that was so long ago, but you have to have a certain number of sales within 90 days, I think it is, and a certain value of sales, right? Like, so you can't just have like one $10,000 sale and you're a top rated seller. And you can't have like 100 sales, but it's only equals $100 because they're all $1 each. Like you have to meet both metrics within a certain time frame that they're looking at in order for you to get top rated seller. So you can lose it without just bad, like defects. You can lose it if you haven't been selling enough items or you haven't been selling enough valuable items.
Yeah. And I always tell people like the best way to recover is you just got to sell more, right? That's the thing. Like the reality is you can be on the phone, but I mean, eBay's been stricter about stuff. It's not like the good old days where like, oh yeah, like you've been selling here for a while, like we'll take care of this. Like it doesn't happen that way anymore. And so I just want to warn people like, hey, you want to make sure that if you go, like Mike's been telling me like, hey, change my shipping time. That hasn't been an issue yet, but I think I may have to do that. I really do, because I'm at a stage right now. Like there's certain days that I just can't get to stuff. Right. And I never thought I'd see that day, but again, I'm going to keep selling on me. I'm still selling on eBay. I mean, I get multiple sales a day still. I'm still shipping stuff out when I can. I'm right now I'm listing when I can. I don't have to source. I haven't sourced in a little bit just because I still, the thing is I mentioned in the last podcast how I ended up picking up all the stuff from the school, all the raspberry stuff and all these other items. Like I haven't even, that stuff is still in the trunk of my car. Like I haven't even moved that stuff. But, I just, Mike and I have always been big about being real. And I hope people that are listening are resonating with this, especially if you went from full-time to part-time. I do miss the full-time, like the hours I had. Like I had so much time reselling. So I want to encourage you, if you go full-time, like make the best use of that time, because if you ever get in a place like your life changes, maybe you're like, hey, this has been too much. I like having the W-2. Like I like having checks. That's one avenue. Maybe part of it is like, you get a job and the benefits you get from that job help your family out, whatever it is, like you can make that call. For me, it was, I feel called to education and I never thought I'd be going back, and, God made a way and I ended up back where I'm at. So, that's kind of how things are. So I just want people to be aware that like it is a shift, and maybe we need to have an episode where we talk about, hey, what's it mean to go from full-time to part-time again? Because we've had many discussions about what it takes to be part-time to full-time, but there is a major shift and I'm just now feeling it. I think I got away with the summer because I had a little bit extra time and I could do this and that, but now I'm pretty like, the other world has consumed me, and eBay world, if I'm not careful, I could lose 100% feedback. I could end up losing top rated seller. I just got to be careful about things. But yeah, sales have continued and things have been good. How about you, Mike? How are things going?
Yeah, I mean, we could almost have a theme on this episode, right? Because I feel like part of my update, we didn't talk about this before we started, but is kind of along the lines of yours. I'm going to take a different spin on it so people don't have to tune out and just say it's repetitive. But I really ramped things up over the summer and was doing a lot more sourcing and listing and shipping and all the things that I can't do during the school year. I'm also an educator. I'm a teacher. And so I'm really big on trying to stay prepared for the school year, as far as like physically, mentally, emotionally, all those things, because there's this thing for teachers, like the first couple of weeks back, man, I say you have to get your teacher legs back. A lot of times it's really tough because like just being on your feet all day and talking all day, if you're not used to talking, like those things are really hard. But then you get used to it. And then over the couple of weeks, like you're back into the groove. Well, that groove thing is like a legit thing that I want to kind of focus on right now. And it connects with reselling too, is because I've gone back to school. Students aren't back yet, but we're doing all the professional development stuff. We're doing meetings. I'm doing all these things for my department. And I'm realizing, even though I've been walking, making sure I'm getting 10,000 steps a day so that I'm used to being on my feet, I'm doing the reselling. So I'm working every day. I'm not just doing nothing, but the mental taxation of having another job and reselling, like you were saying, like it's really tough. Like you come home and you're exhausted, you're burnt. But the spin I want to put on this is it gets better, right? Like even if you are, you're brand new, and this might really apply to people who are new. if you're like, I've got a full-time job, I need to make extra money, I'm going to get into reselling. A lot of times we don't say reselling is like easy. We're pretty honest about like it's work, but we do mention that like it's not difficult. And so I think a lot of people get this idea that like, I'm going to try this thing. And like you are experiencing right now, and like kind of like I'm experiencing right now, that initial shift of adding an extra task, staying up another hour so you could take pictures and list when, well, I was doing that before, or maybe I've had a job and I didn't have to do that. Those first couple of weeks of doing that, it is brutal. Like you need to get your hustler legs back. It's kind of the way you got to do it. And there is something about routines. Like if you can be in a routine, once that routine gets going, it becomes the new normal. Like the human, I read a book a while back. I think it was called Endurance, something like that. It was about a group of explorers, a true story, that they like were going to hike across, like be the first group to ever hike across the Antarctica, right? Like that was like their thing. And they got stranded in their ship. And then it was like a brutal, like months and months without food. They're like trying to like kill like seals. And what I took out of that book is like, they were able to adapt. Like the human body, mind, all of it is able to adapt to almost any situation. And it becomes the new normal. And they were just used to like, yeah, like this is our new life. And they were able to joke and have lives. And a lot of times when you first start something, when you very first, it's like, it's shocking. Hey, like I'm full-time, whatever I'm doing. And then now I want to start reselling. Those first few weeks. Now, what could get you through that is that motivation, that excitement. That might be enough to push you over that edge. That's one of the reasons we also mentioned like slowly ramping up. But if you're like, hey, I used to resell, but you know, I kind of put that aside for a while and then you decide to go back to it. I just want to let people know like it is going to be a shock to your system for a little bit of time. But if you keep at it and don't give up, it becomes the new normal and then you don't even notice it anymore, right? It doesn't become a problem. So yeah, I mean, I've been pushing hard over the summer, but now it's like, okay, even though I've been trying to stay ready for school, until you're doing both things at the same time, it's tough, you know? So you really, my encouragement to everybody is it gets better. You got to push through. And that's why you've got to have those disciplines, those consistencies, the things that you're going to do, and prioritize what's important to you. Like if you're saying listing 5 items a day, listing 10 items a day, whatever it is, taking pictures of items, going out and sourcing at least twice a week. Like if those things are important to you, calendar them, get them on a schedule and actually follow through and do them. And it's tough, but over time, like we talked about with Atomic Habits, like when we did our book review on Atomic Habits, one of the things it was like really talking about is it has to become a habit. It has to become natural. It's got to be like brushing your teeth in the morning. Nobody wakes up and has to like remember and calendar that I need to brush my teeth. It's just a normal thing. So you attach something to that. Like, okay, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm doing a couple listings. It doesn't have to be that thing, but it creates a new like pathway. Like this is now a habit of mine. It's just part of my normal routine. So yeah, just that encouragement to keep at it. But yeah, I've had some interesting finds. It's hot here in Texas. We've had some serious rain days. We've had some heat days. The weather today wasn't too bad. But I'm surprised, like, even though summer is not the best time for garage sales here in Central Texas, I'm surprised at how many there still are. Like, there's still a lot of garage sales. So, like this last weekend, just driving around, like I didn't intend to go out to garage sales, but I was out early running some other errands. I see some garage sales. Boom, let's make it happen, right? So stop at the bank real quick, pull out some cash. Again, that's one of the reasons why you want to be ready. Have like if you're not planning on going to garage sales, you probably don't have your garage sale kit with you, because I have a wallet with my business cash in it. But you know, maybe keep in your car enough money or on you enough money that you can just do that kind of stuff. Keep your petty cash with you. But anyways, go to a few garage sales, and I mean, I did okay. It's one of those things. One of the things I found, which reminded me of like almost like a horror story, I found a CPAP machine. And do you remember what happened to me last time I had the CPAP machine? Yeah. It's I can't sell this on eBay. Get that nasty. Dude. Even though I found solds, right? That was my first experience.
That's the
like,
crazy thing. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Why are there? But people have sold these. Like that's why I paid. I think I paid like $70 for this CPAP machine several years ago when I first started, and I was paying up for an item, right? But I'm like, I'm gonna be able to sell this for like $350, so it's no big deal. And then to like not be able to sell it on eBay, it was brutal. So I had it sit for a while. A few people told us there's some other sites you can sell them on. I didn't want to mess with it. I ended up getting rid of it. And then later thinking, man, I should have just taken the time and learned a new site and sold it on there. But whatever, that's water under the bridge. And seeing that CPAP machine there, I was like tempted. I was like, is now the time? But I'm like, no, I'm not even going to mess with it. That's one field I don't want to get into at all. But I did find something interesting. So I bought like a box of stamps, right? And there's some of them like in envelopes, like organized, some of them like in some binders. And the person who was selling them didn't know really anything about them. They were like, yeah, this was like my uncle's or whatever. And, $20. And I got it down to 15, picked them up 15. Cause I honestly don't know anything about stamps. I'm trying to look up like
stamps
at the time.
Just don't pick up stamps.
Yeah. Well, and I agree. Like, this might be a bad one, but my thought is, what's the worst case that's going to happen here? There's a lot of stamps here. Worst case, I get an education, right? Like I can spend some time trying to learn what might be valuable, what might not be valuable. Because if I didn't pick this up, I'd have no reason to try and learn this niche. But I've seen stamps out before. I just have stayed away from them. But this was just such a good lot that I was like, Mom, give it a shot. If we have any listeners or anybody watching on YouTube right now that's familiar with stamps, maybe throw in some like sites, some tips and tricks on stamps. But my thought is, worst case scenario, it's an education. I can learn about some stamps with what I have, kind of like how you did with the Hot Wheels. I don't think this is going to be like thousands of dollars like you made on those Hot Wheels, but I'll learn a little bit. And if it ends up being like, hey, this is taking too much time and I'm not learning anything that's going to make me money, this is not profitable, I'm sure I could lot this set together and make my money back on eBay. So it's kind of like a win-win. I don't think I'm going to make thousands, but who knows? Maybe I like learn a few things to look for and I find a couple, or maybe it's like, no. Come on, man. You can't tell me there's not any money in stamps.
I listen. It's like Beanie Babies. Like, we all can be hopeful, but the reality is
it that bad?
There. It's really? That bad. Now, in the comments, let us know. If you disagree, let us know, because I do think it's that bad. So it's one of those, like, I have like several stamp books. I haven't even looked in them. Now, the market rebounds one day, maybe. But yeah, stamps is kind of like Black Diamond VHSs. It's like Beanie Babies. It's really bad. It's like I went to a garage sale a couple weeks ago. And at this garage sale, they had, I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, but I mentioned that Doug Decoy, which I never listed, which I need to list so I can give you guys an update. But they had a bunch of antique clocks. They had stamp books. They had all these other items. And I was like, they were like, oh, you can make money on these. And I'm like, actually, I can't. Like, there's no money in this stuff. And they're like, what, really? The market's changed? I'm like, yeah, the market. Like, I think they knew that. I think they sold on eBay. They were just trying to offload the stuff that they had. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened. So, anyways, it is what it is. Thanks for raining
on my parade, Orlando.
I'm sorry. We want to keep it real on the podcast. I don't want people. But Mike, if you want to go listen, you can come back in 2 weeks when we have another update episode and go, you know what, Orlando, I found this $1,000 stamp, and then you're good to go.
Look, I mean, honestly, I know I'm not going to find that. Like, I'm not looking for that. Like, hey, a Beanie Baby is going to sell for thousands. The stamp's going to sell for thousands. But maybe there's like a collection of like, hey, these 15 stamps, I can lot them together and make $10. These 30 stamps, I can lot them together and make $10. Like, if there's enough of them that I can make like that, I might end up making $100 off this. I don't know. Worst case, I break even, or worst case, I throw this $15 in the trash and I learned a lesson.
It's all good. All right. Hey, before we move on, if you're wondering about your taxes, what to do, you're stressing out about that. Like I haven't done anything for this year, but I delayed it to October. But the reason I'm not stressing is because I have my Reseller Genie. My Reseller Genie is a software tool made by resellers for resellers. And listen, to me, it's really affordable. It's easy. It integrates eBay and Poshmark. And if you use our code Pure Hustle, you'll get 15% off the first month. So again, use our code Pure Hustle. You get 15% off the first month and you should be good to go. So check out My Reseller Genie. It'll give you all the information you need to be able to give to your tax person, Schedule C, what you spent on shipping, and also allows you to track your P&L. So again, use Pure Hustle, 15% off the first month. All right, Mike, do you have any random stories?
Oh man, I didn't even think about a random story for this episode yet. You go first, Orlando. Let me think of something.
No, my issue has been just it's the same thing. It's I keep my random story is like things go in waves, right? So the Nintendo shirt saga continues. Like, I keep getting hate in messages, and I'm sure somebody listening to the podcast is going to give me hate. But like, I get lowball offers. I get like $50, or I get like the hey buddy, you know. And I've talked on podcasts like, you want to get under my skin? Like, call me buddy. Like, buddy just irks me. And you know, and maybe it's just listeners that are messaging me like, hey buddy, your price is too high. I just don't understand what these buyers get from messaging people and like being mean. Right. And I don't even talk about half of the messages we get on the podcast, because I do get some like, you're a joke. Like, I can't believe your price is on that. Like, you're scamming people. Like, I get stuff all the time. And I know it's part of being on social media. It's part of having a podcast. But it's like, why do people bother? Like, I just don't understand. It's just crazy to me. But that's all my random story is. I just had somebody like keep going back and forth with me. Like, they offered me $50 and this shirt's up for like $9,000. So I had somebody offer me $50 and then they offered me 60, or I get the offer of like $1 for something. And I'm like, okay, like, just, you know, it's part of the business. I get that. And, you know, I do think eBay like wants you to respond. I don't respond to haters. I just ignore them. But yeah, that's kind of just the ebb and flow of things. But I will tell you, you know, don't listen to haters. If you have done your research, you've done your therapy, you've searched everything, and you have priced something, like, I know my shirt is the only one in the world. There is no other shirt in the world. And if somebody wants it, they will pay the money they want. And if they don't, maybe, you know, it'll be buried with me in the grave one day, you know, 100 years from now. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. Yeah. I was trying to think of a random story, so I came up with something. So I sold recently a couple of Moby Go, I think is what they're called. Okay. They were like Pixar games, and I think this is like a device kind of like the Leapfrog. Is that what those things were called? I've sold some Leapfrog game stuff. And this is one that was, it's not super random. It's just like one of those things that like I knew I had them, but I couldn't find them. And the box that all of the other Moby Go games were in, the two that sold were not in it. They were not in it. And like, I had to like dig through 3 other totes before I found another random tote that for some reason had those 2. And I can't figure out why those 2 were placed separately. They must have been bought at a separate time. But I'm like, I know for sure where these are at because they're all in one tote. And I probably spent like 20 minutes digging through, checking every single one of these games that I have. And I couldn't find them. And I was like, here we go. I'm going to get a defect, right? Like, how is this even possible? Like, did these sell already and I didn't, you know, take them off? Because that occasionally happens. Like, you get a return or something and then it relists again. I don't know. So I found them eventually. So not super random, but that was like the most interesting thing that happened to me this week in reselling was thinking I'm going to get an item defect and not finding an item, because I'm really, really good with my custom SKU system. But I have not gone through and re-skewed every item from like back in the day, especially when it's like I know all of like my kitchen like faucet sink things that I got at this one place is just in this one tote because they were all like different types of stuff. Yeah, that's all just in that tote. Like, I don't need to like skew that. Those are in that tote. So it was like that with these Moby Go games. Like, I knew what tote they were in, and so you just got to be careful. And I guess it probably would have been worth my time at some point to have gone through and re-skewed my inventory. So that's all I got. Nothing special.
All right. No, but hey, you know, and here's the thing. Like, I always, the thing with eBay is it's always, we're always learning. Like, we're still like, listen, we're 8 years into the podcast and we're still learning. Like, we're still figuring things out. Yes. Is Orlando making rookie mistakes? Yes, he is, because if you're not up on top of things all the time, your eBay business will suffer. I always say that all the time. Anyways, I don't want to belabor that point, but I want to make sure that people understand, like, if you are doing eBay, like, it's not something you just can just on the side do. Like, you got to keep on top of stuff. You got to let things happen. So you got to make sure they happen. All right. Do you want to jump into some reseller topics here?
Yeah, we'll get into that, and I don't have the list of what we're going to talk about, so I'm gonna just do a general opening. The world is changing, and the reselling world is changing along with it. Today we will talk about it. Orlando, take it away.
Okay. I gotta tell you, I am blown away that it's already August. Like, I just can't believe it's August. And that means eBay had their Q2 report, right? And it got released. And eBay is doing well, right? I keep telling people, like, stop with the Poshmark, stop with the Depop. Like, I know Depop had a thing recently, like no seller fees, but reality is, like, if you want more eyes on it, if you want to sell your items for more, eBay is the way to go. You can sell on other platforms. That's still okay. But the reality is, like, eBay is a place to go. So eBay, this is from Digital Commerce 360. It says eBay Inc. reported its highest quarterly revenue since the pandemic. It's pretty good, right? Fueled by strong consumer demand in the U.S. and continued momentum in collectibles. For its fiscal Q2 ended June 30th, eBay reported revenue of $2.73 billion, up 6% year over year, and ahead of both Wall Street expectations and the company's own guidance. Gross merchandise volume also rose 6% to $19.51 billion in eBay's Q2. CEO Jamie Iannone said GMV in the company's focus categories, high growth segments that cater in part to its high value enthusiast buyers. Okay, do you want to refresh everybody what an enthusiast buyer is?
Yeah, so I do remember. So the idea is that they're spending a lot of time on eBay buying things, and it's usually because it's like they're a hobbyist, right? Like that's another way of thinking about it. Like, hey, I'm really into stamps, and so I'm on eBay weekly, daily, every month. I'm making purchases and I'm buying stamps. Like those are the customers they're looking for, as opposed to just like a random person that's like, oh, maybe I should check eBay. The enthusiast buyers are the people who are into something and they're consistently on eBay because they're trying to get items for that hobby or that whatever it is that they're into.
Yeah. So here it says it grew more than 10%, outpacing core categories by 9 percentage points. Focus categories included collectibles like trading cards, auto parts, and luxury goods. During the quarter, executives also noted some disruption to cross-border shipments from Greater China following the U.S. elimination of a trade exemption for low-value imports. However, this is the overall impact in Q2 was limited, with sellers shifting inventory to other markets and remaining shipments seeing higher than average selling prices. So one more thing I'll read. Jamie Iannone said, these results are a testament to our continued progress in reinventing the future of e-commerce for enthusiasts. The fundamental drivers of our return to profitable growth remains intact, while our marketplace has proven resilient in recent uncertainty brought on by tariffs and trade policy changes. So again, that's good. Like, to me, it's, again, it's a thing. And you had mentioned this before, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, but as much as we give eBay a hard time, right, about things, like, they want to stay profitable, right? They want you to have sales, right? They want you they want to make money, because if you're not making sales, they're not making money. Now, I will tell you, the secondary market, sometimes we don't get as much love as the other markets, but I think now that's changing a little bit. I think initially it was like 80% of stuff on eBay was brand new. Now I think the number is dipping into like 60%. I can't remember. We were at something like that like a few months ago. So things are definitely changing. But to me, it's like, hey, eBay is not out. Like, listen, if you're a new seller and you catch these YouTube channels or you catch these podcasts that are saying that eBay's dying out, reselling dead, absolutely not. Like, there's lots of money to be made. Obviously, if we have a strong Q2, right, strongest since the pandemic, right? So we're talking about like 5 years out. Like that's a very good sign. And what that tells me is Q4 is going to be insane. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, no, I think you're right there with a lot of that. I mean, I'd have to really dig into the report, because one of the things that I know businesses are good at is kind of showing you the metrics that are like good. You know what I mean? Like they can spin the data points to make them look more positive than they are. But overall, I think, it's a good thing. I honestly wasn't too concerned about the impact of like the trade stuff. Everybody was so freaked out that was going to hurt us big time. But unless you're the kind of person who's, and there are some resellers who do this, but unless you are getting a lot of items from like Temu style items that you're selling, you've got a resource over in China that's sending you a bunch of, trinkets and stuff for pennies on the dollar. If you're in those enthusiast markets, right? If you're selling vintage clothes, you're selling, trading cards, you're selling collectibles, you're selling parts to like, even appliances, right? People have vacuum cleaners they like. And so that's the market you're in, or auto parts. You're not going to be affected by this. Like, those buyers are still going to be coming onto eBay. So I think that's a good thing. The only pushback again I have with that is like, yes, I understand that desire by eBay to say like, hey, we're going to focus on these types of buyers because this is where we're making most of our money. But I almost see it as short-sighted, and like, I think eBay is known as that market, which is good. But again, they have to find a way to bring more people into eBay to say like, hey, yeah, eBay is a great place to go if you're really into like vintage concert shirts, and you're going to be able to find them there. But also, you're just a regular 9-to-5 worker at a job, and you want to get some shoes, or you want to get a blouse that like, is like the one you got at Old Navy 10 years ago and they don't sell that anymore. Check eBay, right? Like, they need to find a way to hook in people who might be those just infrequent buyers, because the more people who are on eBay, the better off we're going to do. And you keep eBay as that household name. Like, I don't want to see it over the years kind of just turn into like, yeah, that's almost the way we look at something like Depop, where it's like, that's very niche down for a very specific group of people.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned that eBay is like a household name still, and that it's even brought up in like pop culture references.
Even still, like on newer shows.
I mean, it is, but I think that if they don't do something to like keep that up, like, you can only live off of the fame from the past for so long, right? So
it's true.
So I think they've got to do something to like bring in new people so that eBay stays at the forefront of people's minds as this is a place to shop for stuff, not just, hey, I'm a baseball card collector. Yeah, maybe eBay's making a ton of money there, or auto parts or things like that people know, but I can't tell you how many people I talk to on the regular about the stuff I sell on eBay, and they're like, oh, I've never thought to check eBay for that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, like, why haven't you thought that? Like, why hasn't the push been out to the public to like check eBay for those things? And that's eBay marketing. Like, they've got to figure that out.
Yeah. So, but I do think that, but I will tell you, like, I guess I see a little different. I don't think eBay is resting on their laurels. I think they're seeing things. Again, one of my biggest complaints right now is that, like, why aren't we doing live selling? Like, why isn't that open to everybody? Right? I think Whatnot honestly would go out of business if eBay did that. I really do. But
maybe
whatever reason.
But again though, like, one of the things like I feel like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, because I think eBay needs to innovate. But at the same time, like, eBay is good at something. Like, the thing that upset me most years and years ago when we went to eBay Open was that like push of like eBay trying to be like another Amazon. It's like, no, eBay, you have this market. Like, you know how to do this thing. Like, you're the used market. Like, this is what you're known for. Like you just need to like make this better and figure out a way to bring more people into it. And I kind of think the same thing, like what we talked about with Whatnot on our last episode, our reseller call, and I think is probably more true than anything. I think most people on Whatnot are other resellers, maybe some collectors if they're into like a very specific niche. I'm not super optimistic on like live reselling, like, as being the way to go. Like, I don't see that as being like, that's going to be the thing that brings people in.
Yeah,
because I don't think the average person, because like if you tell the average person about Whatnot and they go on to Whatnot and they watch a couple of those, they're just going to be like, this is wild, and they're going to be off, right? So if they're going on to eBay and half of what eBay is pushing is this stuff, like, I don't know. I just don't think it would be as beneficial. I could be wrong. Yeah. I know people are like sold on like, this is the future of reselling. But like even K-Way Shop mentioned in the thing is like, Whatnot is good if you're looking at it as price per hour that you're making, as opposed to like price per item. If you can source a ton of items really quick, you're just trying to offload them. But again, you got to have time. If you're just a normal reseller and you're like, hey, I can squeeze in like 30 minutes at this time to like list a couple items, and I've got like 2 hours, spread out throughout the week where I can take pictures of items, and I can go sourcing once on weekends to get items. You're not going to be able to say like, hey, every night between 6 to 8 p.m., I'm going to have this live thing going. Right. So who are going to be the people doing it? Well, it's going to be the same people who are doing it on Whatnot. It's going to be the influencers. It's going to be the big sellers. And it's going to kind of just turn into what Whatnot is. I could be wrong, though.
No, who knows? I mean, but again, okay, so this is my second. We don't got too many news topics today. Things are just moving along, but this ties into their Q2. I just want to talk a little bit more. Their eBay's gross merchandise value, right? So if you're wondering gross merchandise volume, if you're wondering what that is, that's just the sale of goods. That's all that is, right? So we're not going to focus too much on, where do you think eBay made most of its money? From what listens, okay? But I don't want to talk about that. But I want to talk about the gross merchandise value. So it says, this is according to Yahoo Finance, the value of all goods sold on eBay rose 6% to 19.5 billion during the second quarter, topping the average estimate of 18.9 billion. The company said it had 134 million active buyers as of June 30th, in line with estimates. Like, that is a great forecast. Like, to me, listen, if you haven't been listening this summer, if you haven't been sourcing, get to it. Like, get to it, because Mike and I have talked about over the last few years that Q4 keeps coming closer, right? People keep trying to buy stuff. People keep trying to get stuff for Christmas earlier and earlier. And I think this fear of the tariffs, whether it's founded or unfounded, people worrying about inflation and all that good stuff, like, it's just going to cause people to buy earlier, and it's going to cause people to buy used goods. And everything Mike and I have talked about has always been like, whenever there's economic turmoil, people turn to eBay, people turn to thrift stores, people turn to garage sales, people look for other avenues to be able to buy things for good, right? So, and the other thing I want to add to that is make sure your shipping times are good. So I'm sure Mike agrees with me, I still buy things off of Amazon before I buy them on eBay. The reason that is I can buy something on Amazon and I'll get it within a day at the latest, or 2 days. The worst is when I'm trying to buy stuff on eBay and it's like, it's going to be a week, or it's going to be a week and a half, or this person has 5-day shipping times. And I understand what I'm buying on Amazon isn't necessarily what's always good on eBay, but I've bought like clothing, like I'll buy like pants or a shirt or whatever, and I'm going to go as the person that can ship things faster. Right. So make sure you do what you can to pick things up right away. Right. So people are like, hey, I want this item. So and remember, if you're a top rated seller, if you have free shipping, like, all those little things show up on your listing when people are looking through things. So again, you want to do everything to optimize your listings to be successful on eBay. So
yeah, no, I think that's good. I mean, one of the things that always has been my complaint is that like they say that they're more profitable every time these earning reports come out, and we always talk about it comes from the seller fees. And when it really stings is when GMV has gone down or is staying stagnant, and it's like, look, we're more profitable than we were before, and it's like, well, that's not a win for us as eBay sellers, because that just means you're taking more from us and you haven't grown eBay. But when the GMV is going up, and like you said, like about 19%, like that's huge. Like that is a win. I will celebrate that happily for eBay and for us as sellers.
Yeah. So anyways, I know people hate it when we talk about tariffs, but I want to hear, Mike, what's your prediction again with the tariffs? What's going to happen to eBay? Calling you on the spot.
I don't remember. What
the only thing we both talked about.
I was going to say, like, the only thing I've mentioned is, it's not going to hurt us as sellers. If you're like US based, you're sourcing things at garage sales, thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, estate sales, those kinds of things. If anything, it's going to help you if there's less like flooded items on eBay of things coming from overseas. Now, again, if you're the kind of seller who's like, yeah, but I buy like in bulk from Temu or from Alibaba or whatever, and I get these items and that's what I'm selling on eBay. It's like, well, that's the kind of the cheap stuff that we don't want to sell anyways. Like that's not, I mean, that might be a very profitable model, but like when I go on Amazon and I buy stuff and it's just cheap, like there's a reason people are going to older stuff. Like, I mean, we just went through just crazy experience getting a new fridge. And then as I'm looking up reviews, and it's like, man, just all of the appliances nowadays, they don't last. They're terrible. You spend twice as much and a few years later, they're out. And it's like, there's a reason people are going back to like older made things and things that are just like well put together. So yeah, if you're a used seller in America, it shouldn't have a negative impact. Now, of course, it's a trade-off, right? Because yes, you're going to be able to sell more, you're going to make more. But if everybody says, yeah, but then now you have to pay more for items because their items have gone up. And it's like, well, if I have to pay more for cheap junk on Amazon, but I'm making more money, I'll just stop buying cheap junk. Like that's my trade-off there. Now, there's some things you do have to buy, like I got to buy groceries, those prices go up. But if those things are going to happen anyways, I'll take the benefit of being able to make more money on eBay.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Hey, before we move on, if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't caught us on YouTube, jump on over to YouTube, hit that, subscribe button, smash that like button, hit that bell notification. We may drop a random YouTube at any time. If you want to follow us on social media, we are Pure Hustle Podcast on all platforms, but we are Pure Hustle Cast on X. As always, if you want to shoot us an email, let us know a hustle of the week, which we show on our theme episodes. If you want to tell us a Bolo, which we're about to talk about soon. If you want to just ask us a question, please do so. purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. That's purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. And as always, appreciate all of you that leave us reviews on iTunes. If you haven't yet, come on over. I'm looking at, we are the most reviewed reselling podcast out there. We are the #1 reselling podcast out there. And we appreciate every single one of you. But if you haven't had a chance yet, come on over to iTunes, write that review, give us 5 stars. Don't write us one if it's 1 star. Give us a 5-star and let people know why you enjoyed the podcast. And listen, if you got to take a shot at Orlando and praise Mike, I'm all good with that. As long as you leave the 5 stars, it's all good. And as always, if you want to support us, we have pumped out 461 episodes, all free since day one. And the reason being is because of all the supporters that we have that jump on Patreon. So going on patreon.com/Pure Hustle Podcast or go to the link below for $5.55 a month. Okay. $5.55 a month. You know what the big thing is to do here, Mike? When you want to hang out with people, what do you think people do in San Francisco when they want to hang out?
Coffee?
Just coffee. I drink coffee every day. Every day now. No Diet Mountain Dew. I do have water though, but no Diet Mountain Dew. Okay. I'm slowly getting away from Diet Mountain Dew, but everybody wants to hang out with coffee. And guess what? My coffee cost over $5 whenever I get coffee. Right. So listen, for just a cup of coffee, depends where you go. Out here, Phil's is pretty big, except they're being bought out by an equity firm right now. So I don't know if that's going to be the cool place to go anymore, but, $5.55 a month, you get to jump onto Patreon, get to be part of the Pure Hustle community. And in that community, it is thriving. We got new sellers. We got veteran sellers. We got sellers that do Amazon arbitrage, eBay arbitrage. We got used clothing sellers. We have book sellers. We have people that have been doing this for 20 years. I mean, it's so many people there. And it's not the Orlando and Mike show. It is everybody in the Pure Hustle community contributing. So if you want to jump on board, go to patreon.com, go to the link below for $5.55 a month, and you'll get access to our Discord.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you ready to talk about some bolos?
Yeah.
Bolo. What's your bolo?
All right, my bolo is stamps. No, I'm just kidding. It's not stamps. So I've sold a lot of Lego. I'll still pick up Lego if it's decent enough price. Plus, I've got kids who are into Lego, so worst case scenario, my kids can play with them. But one thing that I don't know if we've talked about on the podcast before, maybe we have, we probably have. It's been 461 episodes. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to deal with this lot of random Legos and whatever, Lego minifigs are like gold. Like if you can, if you've got a tote that someone's trying to sell you and you're thinking, okay, what's the price per pound I can get on these Legos? If you got a bunch of minifigs in there, that alone might be worth it, right? Like you can sometimes get, if they're just regular minifigs, pretty minimum is like $1 a piece, maybe more. And if they're like specific minifigs, like if you've got like, I don't know, Indiana Jones or certain Star Wars ones, and I'm not even talking about like the really rare ones that you can sell for a lot of money. I'm just talking about just the minifigs, even minifig parts, like a Stormtrooper helmet on a minifig. Someone's trying to replace that. Those go for good money. So sometimes that's worth it. And then if you can pick out minifigs, again, people who are Lego people know this, right? So if you're on Facebook Marketplace and someone's trying to sell their Lego collection, they're not going to let their minifigs go for super cheap. But occasionally someone's just selling their kids' collection. And if every Lego set they buy comes with some minifigs in it, there could be a lot of minifigs there. So there's definitely something to be on the lookout for.
And remember, there's always Boba Fett from Cloud City. That is like the $3,000, sometimes $10,000 minifig. You never know. Star Wars minifigures are actually really good. Not the Darth Vaders, not the Stormtroopers, but there's like those unique ones. Like if it's some creature or like whatever it is, like you can make good money. And I've even sold like the head and like, I think it was like the jetpack for Boba Fett from that Cloud City. I found it somewhere and I sold that for like $200. Right now, if you have the full complete, then you have good money. So yeah, definitely minifigures. Like, man, yeah, I would, if you get a tow, always investigate, always go through them. And the beauty of it, you have Google Lens and you can use Google Lens to like, if you don't know what it is. I remember I picked some up last summer And I made like $500 on minifigures, and I didn't even know what they were. I just need Google Lens, and that's how I identified them. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So my Bolo is hair dryers. Not all hair dryers. Okay. And I'm not saying, go to the thrift and like start picking up all these hair dryers. But with Google Lens, you can now do the research. But there are some out there, like I just sold them Misikko, Misikko, Hyena Air professional blow dryer for $60. I've sold some for over $100. Like, there is money with hair dryers. Obviously, like not Conair or like Paul Mitchell, maybe, I don't know, but like it has to be like, I would say if it's one you don't recognize, like look it up. If it has like a diffuser, you can look that up, whatever that means. But diffuser is that like the attachment you put at the end to diffuse your hair. All those different things, like hair dryers could be good money. Now you got to be careful though too, because you get veroed. I did get veroed on a hair dryer. I don't know why. I had no idea, but I did get flagged. But I have sold plenty of hair dryers for over $50, some for over $100. Because, it's a secondary market and some people don't want to pay full retail. Some of these go for like $300-$400, but if they can buy it secondary for like $100, some people are willing to do that. So that's my Bolo. Keep an eye out there, do the research, and, maybe you could do on Terapeak. You can go and research like what are the highest selling secondary hair dryers, and you could do that research yourself. And if you're wondering like, how do I do that research? You just go to your selling page, and then you just scroll, and then you'll get to selling tools, and then there's a research little tab there, and you'll be able to do that on the app. So check that out.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. So today a little bit shorter episode, but next week we're going to come full fledged with a little bit of a Gary V trash talk. But what are you looking forward to here, Mike?
Kind of going back to what I said at the beginning, just getting into the new normal, right? Like you push through something for long enough and it just becomes part of your routines. And so I feel like right now I'm in that shock and awe phase of how am I going to stay awake to get these listings done, or even the podcast, right? Like doing the podcast over the summer was quite a bit easier. Now it's like, I've got so many things on my plate. How am I supposed to do it all? But I remind myself, hey, give it 2 or 3 weeks and I'm going to be back to where I was last year, and it'll be all gravy. What about you?
There you go. No, same. I gotta do some reflecting. Like I need to change my handling time? Do I need to organize things better? Do I need to, I don't know. I just got to figure out what to do, because at this rate, like I will end up in a bad place. So I got to make sure I make the right calls. I also gotta get new systems in place. So that's something I just realized. Like I can't do what I was doing as a full-time reseller. I gotta have new systems. So what are the times I'm willing to ship? When am I going to list? Like I gotta find those times. Like if I want to continue thriving in my eBay business, like I can't be like lackadaisical and be like, oh, I'll list whenever I get to it, because it'll never happen, right? Right? Things that are important, you will make time for. So I gotta make this kind of a priority. And once I make it a priority, like you talked about atomic habits, right? Like I don't, like until I do this, I don't go the next step. And that's kind of what I'm gonna have to figure out to do, what I gotta do. So that's part of it. I hope to have a better update next time. But I just got to sort that out. That's my update. So I'm sure people can resonate with us. Hopefully, if you got anything out of the podcast, let us know in the comments. Give us some feedback as to what you did, if you went full-time to part-time. Whatever you want to comment on, leave us in the comments. But hey, thank you for everyone for tuning in. Looking forward to next week's Gary V Trash Talk. Not small talk, Gary V's Trash Talk. And thanks for everybody for being supportive. And with that being said, make sure to be real.
Be relevant.
And be reselling.
Peace.
From garage sales to thrift store aisles, we hunt for treasure, stacking them in piles. Hustling hard, making deals all day, flipping finds, turning profit our way. You hustle